I know nothing about sound editing. I know nothing about the actual, way to upload content to iTunes. I had no understanding about what's the most effective way to launch the podcast.
This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hey there, this is Scotty with the Podcast Factory, and I am here with Igor Kheifets. Igor, what was the obstacle that would have kept you from starting your own podcast?
I believe that unless I hired Jonathan as a result of meeting him through a friend, through another customer of his, I would probably keep delaying starting this because of the technical aspect associated with having to start, a podcast, because that's a lot of work. So not that I'm not a technical guy per se, like I can handle WordPress and I can handle a few things, but I know nothing about sound editing. I know nothing about the actual, way to upload content to iTunes. I had really just no understanding about what's the most effective way to launch the podcast, which is where Jonathan excels. Basically, I consider myself to be a great marketer, and I consider myself to be pretty technical when I had to. But when it came to the podcasting arena, I had no knowledge whatsoever, and I honestly had zero desire to go figure it out at this point in my life. I'd much rather stick to what I know best and have a true professional do the heavy lifting, kind of like, same would be Michael Jordan hiring a great accountant, because Mike is good at playing basketball, but he might not necessarily be, great at accounting. So I just said, look, I'm just going to hire somebody who's pro, who's got a proven track record, who's got a team. And, I'm happy to say that I did not regret this decision. And it's been, I think, almost 6 months now. And as a result of our work together, there's been many tremendous changes in my business, including some powerful joint ventures as well as great new clients. So, overall, I'm excited.
So what did you find as a result of working with Jonathan?
Right. Well, first off, I discovered that podcasting is much more complicated than it might seem at first. In fact, what I thought podcasting was, it's actually, it's like a tip of the iceberg, because there's so much work that goes behind the scenes in order to guarantee a successful launch of a podcast. And then Jonathan kind of had it, all figured out and systematized. So when we started, I just had to kind of follow the checklists, give him what he needed, get on calls with him at appointed times, and just, show up and deliver what I was supposed to do, which is, just the content of the thing. And he kind of handled everything else.
So what specific feature did you love about working with Jonathan?
Well, for one, I loved the interviews, like the recording process. I was extremely nervous about not being able to do this right. I was questioning myself whether or not I can be a great podcaster. Now, before doing podcasting, I've done webinars, of course, and I wrote emails, and I considered myself to be a pretty well-rounded guy when it comes to marketing and producing content, but podcasting, I just felt a lot of pressure. And Jonathan made it very easy, because first off, we were able to identify exactly what we're going to be talking about before we get on a call together. And second, he would always guide me with the right questions. So even when I lost track of where I was going, he would kind of, get me back on track using a really good question, which again seems it was very seamless. Like the audience couldn't really tell. And as a result, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, congratulating me on great work done, on just, having created something beautiful, something that is actually making an impact. And like I said, starting out, I had, very little confidence that I could actually pull this off. So having Jonathan there on the call, he doesn't say much, right? But when he does say something, it's always in tune with the message we're trying to deliver. He's very knowledgeable, so he's able to guide me with the right questions. And overall, just, I feel that I'm not I don't feel alone on the calls, which in itself is kind of scary. And I feel I've got a teammate to kind of bounce ideas off of even during the call, and it makes it very easy for me.
What would be 3 other benefits of working with Jonathan?
Well, first off, it's very predictable, so it's very systematized, so there's no surprises. Second, I would say, again, the technical workload that is being done here is tremendous, and you don't have to worry about it, at all. And third, I believe that, if you're starting a podcast in order to attract better clients, then you're definitely on the right track. Because the clients that I've discovered who actually listen to my podcasts, either occasionally or on a consistent basis, they become just the best clients. They are the kind of people that if I see them on the street, I actually want to come in, come up to them, shake their hand, hug them, and, go have a drink together, and not the kind of customers that are obnoxious customers, if you know what I mean.
Would you recommend Jonathan, and if so, why?
Well, for all the reasons outlined above, of course, but overall, I believe that the relationship we have structured in the recent month has become a really solid one. There's understanding, there's mutual understanding. I know that he's got my back. The best part is that it's long term. I can honestly see myself working with Jonathan for years to come. And that's not something that I take for granted, because there's so many kind of bogus service providers out there that you never know, when they're going to drop the ball and kind of even stabbing in the back. But with Jonathan, I feel safe, I feel protected, and I feel that I've not only gained somebody who I can, outsource things to as far as my podcasting, but also a great ally that I can rely on in times of need.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Put your trust in him. He's able to carry the weight, and I believe you will be excited and satisfied, just like I am, linking arms with him in the long term.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.